folks. So thank you so much for tuning in to another edition here on Cayman Marl Road. We are delighted to be sitting with His Excellency the Governor. First time. What do you know? So welcome. We received all of your questions. I must say that in our news group, when we indicated that we'd be meeting with the Governor, we got a long list of questions. Most of them were actually not for the Governor, but we're going to get into probably why some of those questions are not appropriate for him, and finding out a little bit about his role and what it is that he does and what he's got coming up that could be of interest to all of our viewers. So first of all, thank you so much for the invite. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Where do we begin? You are now, you've gotten your feet wet for sure.
Yep.
Here in the Cayman Islands. 2.5 years into your 4-year tenure. Tell us a little bit about the role of the Governor, because I feel like there's a bit of misunderstanding, some mystique perhaps about what it is that you do.
Yeah. I mean, I think ultimately, as an overseas territory, the UK is the sort of final guarantor of security, of prosperity, of well-being. So, if the economy collapses or there's real security issues, it's the UK which will step in, and that's the responsibility we have for a British overseas territory. So, you need a governor to be in the country, engaged in what's going on, being aware of what's going on. So I'm like a bridge. So I'm the bridge from here to London. So London know what's happening in Cayman, and I'm the bridge for the Premier and ministers and the community about what's happening in the UK, what the UK government thinks. So it's that bridge.
Right.
But the key thing really is that Cayman has autonomy in domestic affairs. So it's the elected politicians who run Cayman. It's the elected politicians who have the accountability and the responsibility for what happens here. I have some responsibilities, which law and order, security, defence, foreign affairs, and good governance. And so what do I do? I mean, I'd say I'm the eyes and ears of the UK, but very much hands off, allowing the elected politicians to run Cayman, but then I have some specific responsibilities in the Constitution. So every 2 weeks I have a big law and order meeting in here with all the various agencies to get a briefing on what's happening, and so I'm aware of all that. Things like the Defence Regiment we've helped to set up. I was involved in constitutional change, and then it's really, where can the UK support Cayman? What can we do to help? Can we help bring some technical assistance? So in areas like climate change, environment, we're doing some work there. At the moment, we're looking at a possible secondee to help on the anti-money laundering cases. So it's things like that, but only at the request of Cayman. This is it's very much Cayman led. So I don't know. Does that give a bit of a sense for what the role of the governor is?
Because we got a lot of questions, for example, saying, "Well, ask the governor, about employment rights in the Cayman Islands." And all of that is the government, the elected arm.
That's it.
And that has nothing to do with you.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Yeah. I mean, the only thing where it touches on my responsibilities, I do have this role on good governance.
Right.
But again, my approach is this is a devolved matter for the elected government. They're responsible, and it would only be if something got incredibly serious that there would be a role for me. And actually, Cayman is an extremely sophisticated, well-run jurisdiction, without doubt one of the best run, if not the best run, of the British overseas territories. So there isn't that need for me to engage. That doesn't happen everywhere. There may be in some other territories a need for governors to engage more. So I think ultimately, we have to be clear where accountability and responsibility rests for delivery. And for the vast majority of things in these islands, that isn't me. It is the elected government.
Absolutely. Now, your tenure hasn't been without a little bit of controversy.
No.
Of course, here on Cayman Marl Road, we dabble in all sorts of things, including whatever people think is controversial. So, of course, I would say if I had to choose a single topic, definitely the LGBTQ issue was one that really just took on a completely different life of its own. And in that instance, you had to step in. And that's because the UK government essentially, I think, said enough is enough.
Exactly. And no, you're right. And that was perhaps a sort of a quite an extreme example of where a governor has to step in. And my hope very much was that the elected politicians would have dealt with that issue. I think that it got very close. It was a very close run thing. But then, because it didn't get through the Legislative Assembly, the then Legislative Assembly, and we knew that we were, as the UK, also breaching human rights obligations, international human rights obligations. I was instructed by the UK to use Section 81, and I think the people have moved on. I think in the election campaign it was noticeable that all the candidates, when they were asked, were saying, well, this has happened, it's the right thing, we've moved on now. And I feel the country has really moved on. For me personally, it's not where I wanted to be, to have to do that, but ultimately that is what the governor is there for, and I'm appointed by Her Majesty the Queen to be the governor of the Cayman Islands, so that creates an immediate bond between me and the people, and I see my role primarily as supporting the people of the Cayman Islands, and occasionally there may be it may clash with a UK objective or priority which isn't consistent with Caymans, like on LGBT, and I have to step in. But for the most part, that doesn't arise, and the elected politicians run Cayman, which is how it should be, because UK wants there to be maximum devolution of power, consistent with the UK's own obligations, international obligations for the overseas territories, whilst they remain British overseas territories.
Right. Okay. The regiment.
Yes, okay.
Not without a bit of controversy as well. There was a lot of information out there, a lot of misinformation about what was the intent of the regiment, why are we setting this up. Can you just summarize for the benefit of our viewers, what is the regiment all about? I think we've already seen how it certainly can be useful in certain instances where they can be deployed, but tell us a bit about that.
It is, in a nutshell, disaster preparedness. It is simply there to help Cayman be even better equipped to respond to a natural disaster, whether it's tropical storms, hurricanes, flooding, whatever natural disaster happens. And again, I think that issue has died down now. I think people have accepted it. I think people saw in Tropical Storm Eta, when the regiment were out there helping people whose homes were flooded, getting them out of their houses. So they are a part of our disaster response should the worst happen to us, and having a body of men and women trained by some of the officers by Sandhurst, the best military establishment in the world. That's a skill set that we didn't have. So they bring something new, something different. And so many people have said to me, what the Bermuda Regiment did in 2004 after Ivan was incredible. They came in and they performed a valuable role. We have that group of men and women on island now, so they can help us, but also they can help the region. And if others suffer, we will be able to send the regiment off to support our brethren in the region. So I think it's a real win-win. It's a real step forward for Cayman in capability, and for the UK, because we want the territories themselves to be able to deal with these issues. The UK obviously would send support if there is a natural disaster, but far better that we have a regiment here to do it ourselves, and they're on the ground and ready to go immediately. You don't have to wait for the ships to arrive and for people to come off. So it was a bit controversial, and that's a shame, but actually it was only ever about disaster preparedness, pure and simple. And it's Cayman's regiment, and it's up to Cayman how it develops. Obviously for the Constitution it comes under the governor because it's security, but everything I do in the areas that I lead on is in collaboration and partnership with the elected government, because they also control the purse strings and the budgets, so not much happens unless there's agreement and partnership and collaboration. And I'm really pleased that everybody now on all sides of political opinion is behind the regiment and believes it's a good thing.
It's a good thing for the community. So in terms of, not to compare you to other governors, but we will.
Oh dear.
You have been very active on social media. So I think perhaps the most active governor that we've had. So I follow your Facebook page and Instagram. And a lot of times I get story leads from just seeing what you're posting.
Okay,
And you're very involved in the community.
Well, I'm delighted. I'm giving you some
Yes.
scoops from time to time.
Absolutely. So tell us, what's that like, working in a small community and just, you know, I've seen you go into the senior home, you know, at the Lighthouse School with the special needs children.
Yeah.
You do a lot of community work. You know, I feel like when I think of sometimes the royal family and some of the events that they attend and the NPOs that they support, I feel like you do a lot of that as well. Right. Probably 80% of your job feels like that's what you're doing.
There's a lot. I mean, I think it's a fundamental part of the job. I mean, I'm appointed as governor of the Cayman Islands, so I feel, and I personally feel very strongly that I'm here to support people, get out into the community, see what they're doing, recognise what people are doing, and it is a wonderful community with so much going on. I'd love to do even more, but we get so many invites and we have to say no to quite a lot because there is just so much going on. And then social media, I think, is the medium by which you can thank people and show people that there is recognition for what they're doing. And I, as ambassador in Algeria, I used social media a lot there in a similar way to try and get out and connect with people who wouldn't normally have any contact with an ambassador. So I saw how powerful it was there. So I knew coming to Cayman, I had a real opportunity. Be accessible, be open, be out and about, and really just try and recognise some incredible people and some incredible work that goes on in our community. And it's a little bit of fun. I do a lot of the posting myself, but I also get a huge amount of help.
I was going to ask if you had a social media manager.
I get a lot of help from my team. I have a wonderful team who support me. One of them is watching us now, Simone, who does a great job. But I do a lot of it myself as well. So it's a combination, and hopefully the followers are not. Figures are not bad, but not in your league yet. So we obviously have a long way to go.
Yes, I think you might give me some competition soon. So what is there a single event that stands out in the past 2.5 years in your mind, just in terms of your community involvement? I know recently you met with Trevor, TJ, tea with him. That must have been a lot of fun. But you meet with people who are centenarians or turning 100. Could you pick just one event you think?
Wow, that's really hard because there are just so many. I mean, going to the Sunrise Adult Education School, playing the steel pan for them with a lapel. I mean, that was just a magical moment. Wesley Howell's father, who's got the incredible age of 105, going to things like that. I visited a lot of people's homes, elderly people with some of the MPs in the sort of first half of the time here, and going into people's homes and meeting them and talking to them about their experiences. There are so many. Having Prince Charles here, I'm so lucky to have been the governor who had the heir to the throne visit Cayman in my time here.
Absolutely.
And his experience with Peter the iguana was quite something. So I mean, there are just so many. It's
hard to pinpoint
it is hard to pinpoint one. But Trevor was he's a wonderful young man. I mean, what an incredibly bright future he has, and he's just so mature, and we asked him to give us a little soundbite on what bravery means, and he just sort of did it like that. He wasn't overawed by doing it in front of the governor or at Government House. So fabulous young man, and I was very pleased to have him round to tea.
We had a little dinner with him that same night.
He was telling us that. That's right. Over in Bodden Town, at the White House.
It was a real treat. I'm curious, do you have any Caymanians working in the governor's office? Like, I think about, you've got this physical office, but obviously you have a team of support. So tell us a little bit. I know people come in with you from the UK. So give us an idea of how your staff is compiled.
It's a very small team. There are only 7 of us. And we do have a Caymanian, Renita Barnes, who recently joined us. So we've started a new scheme whereby we asked the Cayman Islands government to second one of their up-and-coming bright sort of stars of the future to our office to get more understanding of what the governor does and what the governor's office team do. She's doing a brilliant job, and she helps on social media as well. That's one of her areas. So she's been doing some of the social media work. So I think that's probably the first time that's happened as well in that sort of scheme in the governor's office. The head of my office, Christine, who also is doing a great job. She obviously is from the UK. Simone, who is with us now, is also posted from the UK. But the others are all locally engaged or recruited in country.
Yes.
And of course we're the governor's office, but we're part of Cayman Islands government. I mean, we're in GAB, and we're all in and out of Cayman Islands government meeting rooms and offices all day. And I see it as a team, really. It's not sort of a governor's office and CIG. We've all got the same objective, which is to do our best for the people of the Cayman Islands, and that's, in a nutshell, how I see the role of my office is where can we best support.
Right. Now, one of the things that comes up quite a bit in recent times when people mention the governor's office is a lady, Miss Lavelle, who is oftentimes seen at the entrance of your residence.
Yeah.
And she does, she's obviously protesting, and her protests get a little bit colorful. People say, what do you think the governor thinks of that? And so we're here, and we would like to ask you, what have been your thoughts and how you have sort of handle that situation?
I mean, I feel sorry for her that she feels that she's got no recourse other than to protest. And everyone has the right to protest peacefully, so that's something that, we respect, rule of law and in a democracy. And she's chosen to protest outside Government House. I'd rather she wouldn't, but she's chosen to do that. Yes. In fact, she was doing it a few months ago, and we asked her to come in, and I had a chat with her. She sat in this office, and she talked me through her issues, and she has a number of concerns which we've tried to help her with, but that unfortunately doesn't seem to have been able to produce a solution for her, because I think what she wants is probably not something that can be achieved. Right. I think obviously she needs support from the community with some of her things that are of concern to her. But I hope that it can be resolved, and I hope she can not feel she has to protest outside Government House. But she's got a right to do that. So people say to me, "Why don't you move her on, Governor?" And I say, "Well, she's protesting peacefully.
Yeah, she's not doing anything wrong. Yeah.
Not that I want hundreds and hundreds to be protesting peacefully outside Government House, but everyone has the right to do it. And it's not the first protest we've had. There've been others. The LGBT issue, we had a number of people out there as well. Yes. So
I think there was an environmental one.
There was
some months back as well.
Yeah. So in a democratic country, that's what we. It's our way of life, and we allow that.
Now, the Queen's birthday celebrations are coming up.
Yes, thank you for raising that.
So tell us a little bit about what we can expect this year. Obviously, we're still in a bit of post-COVID, but not really.
No,
I mean,
that's
COVID
right.
life has changed everything probably forever, but what can we expect?
Well, we're doing it slightly differently this year. So rather than the Saturday, it's going to be on Monday the 14th of July, which is the public holiday of the Queen's birthday. And it will be outside Government House to start with. There'll be a parade on West Bay Road coming just in front of Government House, which I'll receive. That will be about half an hour. We'll also give Charles Clifford his MBE, which I think will be very nice as well. And then we'll move inside onto the front lawn, probably up to 500 people for a reception. There'll be fish and chips. There'll be a roast pig, so it'll be very nice. But this is an open house. So this is the one occasion of the year where if anybody out there wants to come, you just come along. And I think we need to ask people. There'll be a press release going out. We ask people to give us their names in advance, so we can accept up to 500 in the grounds of Government House. So if you have someone out there who's never been inside and seen the grounds at Government House, never been to an event, come along. I would
an
love
opportunity to tour.
to have a full sort of house in the gardens. And of course, this is we're in COVID, but we can still sort of go up to 500. Next year is an even more important year for Her Majesty. It's her Platinum Jubilee, 70 years on the throne.
That's
so
just amazing.
We're already talking about how can we mark that in a really special way. And people are saying to me, Governor, bring back the air show, which we're looking at. I would really love to be able to do something like that. It may not be on the scale of what you had before, but wouldn't that be incredible?
Amazing, yeah.
In the UK, they're planting lots of trees, and maybe that's something we could think about here. We have the Her Majesty the Queen's Botanic Park, so there may be something we could do there. So so please, the Queen's birthday party. She's a wonderful lady. It's an opportunity for everyone just to have a nice, pleasant evening, and it is an open house. So anyone in the public who wishes to come, subject to obviously the numbers, can come along.
I see her picture here in your office. Obviously, she's had an amazing life. I think
she has
amazing tenure and
she
broken
really
so
has.
many records.
Yeah, I mean, it's so sad that the Duke of Edinburgh didn't quite get to 100. I think we were all hoping he would get to 100, and he was an incredibly loyal sort of public servant by her side all that time. And yes, but we'll celebrate her 69 years on the throne and 70 next year at the Queen's birthday party. But thank you for asking that.
Yes, and finally, COVID vaccinations.
Yeah, thank you. That was the other thing I did want to say something about.
Obviously, it's been a challenge, I think, to get people out and to get people vaccinated. I think part of the reason really is that we have been able to create this bubble, which has given people this false sense of security, thinking that we can remain in a bubble forever, and that isn't the reality. So it's made people very comfortable and complacent as a result. So what are your thoughts on the way forward and just encouraging people to get vaccinated?
Yeah. Well, no, I think your analysis is exactly right. I mean, I do think since the government, the new government stepped up its campaign starting on the 8th of May at the airport, I think we've seen a great response, actually. I haven't seen the very latest figures, but I know over 2,500 people came forward for first doses, which is a great response. I think, as you know, my worry as governor is that we can't waste the vaccine supplies that we've got, and it makes it really hard for me to go to the UK and say, please send more. And at the moment, I'm not ordering any more until I'm confident that what we've got is going to be used. Now, I think we're getting there. I think we're down to 2,500, 3,000 more people need to come forward in the next, before the 9th of June, when the first dose has to go in, so that you have your second dose at the end of June. So if you're out there and you're sort of in that wait and see category, and there are a lot of people, I think, in that category, please do come forward. These vaccines really are a game changer in COVID, and you only have to look around the world. There was some incredible data from Bolton in the northwest of England, and it was an area where a lot of people hadn't come forward for the vaccine, and they've just had a really serious outbreak of this new Indian variant. All the people in hospital were people who were not vaccinated, people in ICU. Those that some had vaccines and ended up in hospital, but that they had not had the full course. And there was, I think, one person who was extremely frail. So, the key message about the vaccines and COVID is that fairly soon, wealthy, developed countries, which we are one, the people who get COVID will be those that are exceptionally frail. They're exceptionally unlucky because the vaccines only give you 95% efficacy, or they're people who are not vaccinated. And if you're not vaccinated and we have a COVID outbreak here, people will end up in hospital and they will end up dying. So we need people to come and get the vaccine, because it will protect you individually, it will protect your family, and it will protect the community. And we need to open the borders at some point, and we need to get to that target. I think we're getting there. Internationally, our vaccine rollout has been an incredible success. We're far more successful than many other countries, but we still need that group of people who haven't yet come forward to come forward. So please do come and get the vaccine, and before the 9th of June, when we really are up against it. And I repeat again, it's very hard for me to order more vaccines from the UK if we have to throw away vaccines that we have here. And we can't send them anywhere else because it's Pfizer, it's the cold storage. We just can't send them anywhere else. So please, and you've been supporting this push, and thank you for your efforts as well. I
haven't yet gotten mine, I should say, only because I intended to when the new drive started, and the 2 days before that I'd gotten some steroid shots in my arm. So they said, maybe wait a week or more.
Okay. But you're planning to go and get it.
Absolutely.
Good.
Yes.
I'm very pleased to hear that.
Because I likewise had a friend who said, I'll just wait until the next batch comes.
Yeah.
But as you said, there's no guarantee even of a next batch.
There's
so people should keep that
There's
in
no
mind.
guarantee of a next batch. And I mean, I can definitely get more. There's no doubt I can get more, but it's really hard to get more if we're wasting it. So use what we've got, and then we can get more in.
Yes.
So it really is important that people do come forward before the 9th of June. Pastor Olson Ebanks, I thought that was a really strong message from him. That the Premier, the government, the Chamber, everyone is now saying, please come forward. And I do think this is our only way out of this pandemic. If we don't take the vaccine and protect ourselves, we are going to be in a mess. And just let me say again, I think Cayman has done incredibly well. From the sort of the previous government, and this government is carrying on the same cautious approach. From Dr. Lee, our health services authority, all our sort of medical people, but the community, everyone in the community really listened to the advice and followed the advice. And we are where we are, living pretty normal lives because of everybody in the community. So now we have a real opportunity to move to the next phase and rebuild our economy. But it's only the vaccine that is going to enable us to do that. So please go and get it if you haven't done already.
Absolutely. And our final question, how do you keep a pulse on the community, like what's really happening within the Cayman Islands?
I mean, I meet a lot of people. So we do receptions at Government House. A lot of people come through the door, so I talk to people. So I think really, obviously, I have a weekly meeting with the Premier. That's part of, in fact, it's on a Thursday, so we'll be sitting here a little bit later today. So, and that's his opportunity to brief me on what's going on and what he thinks I need to know, and I brief him on my responsibilities. We have the weekly cabinet meeting, which the governor chairs, and obviously that's an opportunity for me to also hear what's going on. So it's really just about.
So do you sit in on those every week?
The cabinet meeting? Yes. The governor chairs cabinet. So cabinet is the governor, the deputy governor, the auditor general, the attorney general. Getting my AGs muddled up, and the cabinet secretary, and then then we have the Premier and the seven ministers. But cabinet tends to be really a sort of a rubber stamp, a formal agreement process for the decisions that the Premier and his caucus will have taken already in their own deliberations the day before. So that's how it operates. And because most of the issues that come to cabinet are domestic responsibility, that's absolutely right. But there is the formal government process under the Constitution is that we have to have a formal cabinet meeting with the governor there and the deputy governor, the attorney general and the cabinet secretary, so that's how you formally take the decisions.
I didn't know that. Okay.
So that's the sort of that's the system, and we meet every morning on Tuesdays at sort of 10 o'clock. And I've talked to the Premier about this as well. I think there is an opportunity to be more transparent about cabinet meetings. I also chair the National Security Council meeting, which is once a month, and I will be looking at whether we can again try to be more transparent about what is discussed at those meetings, because I think that's important.
Well, thank you so much.
Well, it was a pleasure. Yes. It was a pleasure, and I know you have a fantastic reach, and it's good to sort of engage with you. I know not some people, not everyone approves always of your tactics and your style. I mean, I've had people in this office who have been upset by some of the posts, and I know. So my message to you is that you providing an important service for the community, but I hope you'll always be mindful of impact on other people in what you do, because I think it's important.
You know, sometimes perhaps the message just comes across quite blunt, and that's not always appreciated by everyone. But we do our best. But of course, you know, we've got our ears to the ground. You do. We're delivering what the average person wants.
Right.
But yes, we do appreciate that we have a lot of people with their eyes and ears on what Cayman Marl Road is doing. So we certainly appreciate this opportunity to meet with you and to give our viewers just a little bit of insight into what it is that you do and what you've got coming up. Appreciate it so much. Thank you.
All right, brilliant. Good to see you.
All right, folks. So thank you so much for tuning in. This is a historical moment, quite honestly. Our first interview with this particular governor, hopefully not our last. For sure, and we appreciate him taking the time out of his busy day to spend a few moments with us, and by extension with all of you watching the program. And again, you know, we'll save up some questions for the next opportunity, so send them through to us, and we'll be happy to inform you on what we learn about the governor's office. So again, thanks very much for tuning in.